Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Seraphim Serenades, where I, Roy J. Bacon, and you can also call me RL, which is my starseed and light name. I channel my Seraphim guide, Kazaya, who is a Seraphim entity. I recently learned that his name means wind or direction or arrow, which will be interesting meanings around that. But today he'll be talking about the planet Saturn, especially as it relates to Earth and the solar system's evolution, and some other message will come through. But yeah, he's been talking about the planets as they affect us during this change time that Earth is in, which is the last change time after this very last dark ages we're coming out of. We won't see another dark ages for this planet ever again, as I understand it. So, without further ado, I will bring in Kazaya. He'll be channeling for a bit, and then we have a guest or two who will be asking questions. This will be a bit of an interesting gathering, possibly a high vibrational party, if you will. So, here goes Kazaya. Greetings, and what an honor it is to be able to speak to humanity and Earth once again, and to be able to share messages with all light workers, starseeds, shadow workers, and Earth citizens. You may call me by the name of Kazaya, as that is the closest and most simple human pronunciation that you can understand of my name. I often refer to myself, though, as a we, and in plural tense, as I see myself as less of an individuated being like humans do, more of a group consciousness and teaching purpose. And just as Troy had said, today will be a message about the planet Saturn, generally focused around it, as well as current and recent happenings in human and earthly energy evolution. So, about the planet Saturn and how it relates to and affects humanity and the solar system's evolution, as this evolutionary change time you're going through really does originate from your sun, star you're orbiting, which is currently in a very active time. And this is indeed the time which has been prophesied for a very long time, many years on your planet by many mediums and psychics. Those who have called it even a kill shot, a solar sneeze, solar flash, major 360-degree coronal mass ejections, if you will. And indeed, that is happening. The sun is putting out a greater degree of active, as you call them, CMEs, coronal ejections, and solar weather that you've been noticing has been hitting your magnetosphere, just as in North America, in the Northwest area where Troy is, and other areas where there never used to be. There was, at a time recently, very bright and visible auroras at night for at least one or more nights. And of course, you are seeing, and your videos have been documenting many other unprecedented weather phenomena. And some of these definitely have been sped up by humans and human activity and technological use and culture on Earth. But these weather phenomena are also very natural, and the shiftings of these do happen in cycles. And so this was inevitable, but it does all coincide to now with the energy evolution and what you could call consciousness renaissance or resurrection on Earth. This is indeed a time that is essentially the laying of the final stones, perhaps the capstone of the tomb of the dark ages of this planet. And there will not be another dark ages as the spirit of this planet, Gaia, as many call it, has chosen a much more harmonious destiny. There are many forces working to help this plan coalesce and come to be. And one such implementation, as you could call it, is the Children of New Hope system, which we have been delineating this year. And as we have said, this is a 49-year process that started in the year 2008, which was also a major, perhaps you could call it precursor, or an initiating year of great changes on many levels. And from the year 2008 to the year 2014, those 7 years were the first group, you could call it, increment of this process. 2015 through 2021 was another 7 years. And now 2022 through 2028, the time you're in now, is the third of this process. And the children who are being born at this time and in these past three, almost three increments, not 100% of them, but many of them do classify as the Children of New Hope, which we've also described as being what you could call the rainbow sheep. And many of these are also displaying and embodying colors and multiple hues and spectrums of colors too that Earth is not even familiar with yet or has not been. And so these are some of the initiators, the change makers, and I guess you could call it the way implementers. Way showers has been a very old term for another wave of other souls, but the Children of New Hope are a process that the divine realm and even higher realms beyond heaven and the divine realm have been helping to come to this planet as Earth is in this solar system is a major, could call it board piece in the grand game and local cosmic evolutions. So as this relates to the planet Saturn, Saturn, as you see it from your telescopes on Earth, is a beautiful looking planet. It is one of the few planets in your system that has such pronounced rings, layers of rings, as you would call it. And these rings, as some have already discovered and talked about, are partly made of just celestial ice, some debris, rocks and, as you could call it, asteroids. Some, though, some pieces are other debris, such as pieces of spacecraft and artificial creations. And Saturn is a planet that is regarded as a peaceful haven in your solar system among cosmic beings. It is a planet that has never actually been host to wars, partly because it is a bit more difficult to inhabit for such civilizations that would be prone to war. And yes, there is a layers of relatively thick gases around this planet, but its core can be inhabitable, especially in the higher realms that humans have a hard time living in at this time. The movements of Saturn have given birth to different mythologies on Earth, and these mythologies tend to relate to themes of beauty, of structure, of building, of organization, but there's also an energy that has been recognized of judgment, of prudency, of perhaps you could call it judiciousness and government. And it has been observed that the passings and movements of Saturn tend to give rise to changes, sometimes major changes in governments, occasionally the rise and fall of some, as well as political systems, of economic and teaching systems. This is partly because the the cohesive and total spherical resonance of Saturn as a planetary body does vibrate a bit closer to the level of the energies of these systems and archetypes within humanity that relate a little bit less sometimes to physicality, such as Mars could be associated more with wars and action, or even Venus and the moon, associated a bit more with food and resources in some ways. Saturn tends to be somewhat more like a supervisor, a somewhat a mental aspect that is concerned with the maintaining of order, if you will. And just as I have shared before, planets, as they move around the solar disks in the solar system, their magnetic, as well as you could call it more spiritual resonance, does affect humans, especially as you inhabit these creature-based bodies. And just as the moon has been observed to push and pull tides, the other planets do affect gravity, usually in more subtle ways. And so these movements in water and elements and electricity affect the body, as well as stir up more of a metaphysical type of energies within what we do see as the underworlds in you, which is often also known as the subconscious layers. Underworlds tend to be the deeper, more fundamental, and sometimes more repressed layers of the subconscious. So Saturn can be very helpful in these times of change, as it does like to maintain peace and order, and can help do so, especially as a planetary sphere. It is a planet that is a peaceful haven. The civilizations on it do not fight with each other, and there are no, there's essentially a universal agreement or embargo to never engage in conflicts with certain planetary spheres, such as Saturn, that are havens. And as we have suggested before, because each planet is an energetic sphere that is basically the energy body of the soul that has chosen to incarnate as such a planet. You can communicate with these just as you can talk with plants and animals. In meditation time, it may be easiest to start such communication, imagining the image in the form of Saturn. Ask for it to answer some of your questions as they may relate to order and structure and government and social systems too in your life. And you may also ask it how you may be personally of benefit and guidance in whatever capacity you have to any children of New Hope in your life, and that you may have access to, always in the most respectful way, but Saturn can definitely assist you with such guidance and inspiration. And we see that that is a sufficient extent of such messages around Saturn and human evolution at this time. And we'd like to open this group to receiving, interacting with questions and answers, answering questions.
So my question would be, what does it mean when you have Saturn in your birth chart and it's in mostly your 10th and 11th and 12th houses of your birth chart?
Do you mind being a bit specific with some of this question, as it feels that there are multiple and somewhat general parts to what you asked? Is there a
I guess I'm trying to understand like what Saturn is to me. How can I work with that?
yeah, so in tuning in, we do sense that Saturn has postured an energy in what you call your astrological imprints in in you in a structure of sort of like observing, and if you wish, feeling and interacting with, but you can also learn observing what is happening. And it's a structure of, regardless of the specifics of perhaps the light and dark or minutia of what is happening, Saturn has given you sort of like an energetic space or room in which can be changed. There are certain, of course, ways that your essence, unique essence and soul has chosen to live and explore and relate to perhaps spirituality and others. And also, there are specific ways that you know that you can and cannot get close in some ways to others and some beings. But Saturn gives you this opportunity to observe and to be somewhat of an experiencer and witnesser of just of life itself. And then from that, able to choose perhaps which avenues, which beings, which energies you most closely resonate with, what you want to create, what destiny fits you, what you resonate with both best in that field, in that way.
Okay. So how can I tune into those energies more? Like how can I'm trying to figure out how to like work with those energies, I guess.
Do you currently own a sigil, a symbol of Saturn?
No, I don't.
And it doesn't matter so much perhaps which culture or precisely which symbol of Saturn you use, but what will help is to utilize perhaps a symbol, an image, or even if you want a toy or something that depicts Saturn itself, if you want to connect with it deeper. And even if you bring up a temporary electronic image to get that image in your mind, to connect with that energy, although sometimes it does help to have more of a tangible image of it. And
Okay.
if you wish to really get deeper into it, perhaps get into your meditation space, a calm and preferably clean, comfortable meditation space where you can set it to what you know works for you to get into a deeper state of meditation and observe and look at the image of Saturn, close your eyes and have particular questions in mind.
Okay.
And just breathe and listen and ask to receive guidance from the soul, the spirit of Saturn.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have.
We're glad we were able to answer those. And
Yeah, thank you.
is there anything else you're curious about at this time?
Um, I don't know. I have a lot I'm curious about. It's hard to pinpoint um one thing. Um, I guess I'm just trying to work on, coming at peace with everything and um acceptance and trying to grow spiritually. And sometimes it gets confusing. A lot of information out there to decipher what is the actual helpful and what is, someone making something up. So I'm just trying to go along for the ride of life and figure all this stuff out. figure out my purpose. Still trying to figure that out.
And that alone can be a beautiful way of life, just exploring, experiencing, learning, and observing. What can definitely help is consistency with at least one thing every day to be a constant in your life, even when other things are changing.
Okay.
And we also see that one of your young children is one of the children of New Hope in particular.
Yes. Yes. I know this. He's very special. He healed a bird that had flown into a window with his bare hands.
You will
And
need a teacher, and it may be advisable for you to perhaps go to other in person, especially for him to get to know a teacher he can learn from in life, but perhaps go to other events and gatherings,
okay.
see who stands out to you. You will know who it is.
Okay. He has
And
a he has a twin sister.
she is also a part of this process, and she will have her own evolutionary times. Although we are particularly sensing that the boy is the one with a the Children of New Hope frequency,
Yeah.
and he will discover his own particular destiny and path. But as he gets older, he will need a teacher, just as every enlightening guide does. And so
Okay.
this is the part that we wish to impart to you at this time, is to keep that in mind and be open to when that teacher does become available and show up to perhaps be a part of his guidance.
Okay.
And he will know when the right teacher is there for him.
Okay. Yeah, he's young still. He's sick.
All happens in divine time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll keep what kind of like we don't I mean we're Native Americans, so we go to powwows and stuff, but like what kind of places should I or events and stuff should I try to attend with him?
We see that attending gatherings and such powwows of native traditions will be beneficial for him to experience and learn about, learn particular cultural ways, just as
Okay.
everyone does. Perhaps particular practices and crafts will stick with him and resonate with him, and there will be some that will be essential that his soul has chosen to learn about and to specialize in, if you could call it that. But
Okay.
yes, it definitely will help to attend such gatherings and allow him to participate in the capacity that he can.
Okay. Yeah, he already creates whole universes when he plays with clay and Play-Doh and creates creatures and definitely is on a different plane than the majority of humanity right now.
in his case, and just as with many other children of New Hope, there can be many avenues, many ways for them to explore and create and live in. But certainly exploration, and there will always be at least one way of specialization that is a helpful way of developing the soul.
Okay.
And always with protective observance, keep in mind that there is infinitude, many levels of infinitude and layers of reality that can be explored and manifested in this life.
Okay. He's definitely special. His name means ruler of gods.
That is a beautiful name.
Thank you. So what, because he's in, public school and it's not a good fit for him, like, is he a child that should be homeschooled or should be in more of a specialized school where he isn't being forced to, in a way, act like everybody else?
It is, of course, your decision as a parent in a way, but yes, we do see that it can benefit him growing up to have quite a bit of freedom in what he's learning and what he's being taught, and in some ways teaching himself. That can be a valuable way of schooling. So,
I have been
yes,
feeling
it
cool.
it can be definitely beneficial for him, and of course for other children to experience a perhaps less traditional version of schooling and a bit more creative and holistic method of schooling.
I have been feeling a pull to move to the state of Montana. Is that for him?
We are sensing, yes, that that can be a very strong and beneficial environment for him, as well as your daughter and your family.
Okay.
It's a state with less development, as you will, physically, and quite a bit more, as you could call it, nature and woods and natural environments that indeed are the home and environments of beings in other realms too that they can benefit from the energies of. And yes, we do see that for your children who are very sensitive, it can be beneficial to explore a more freestyle version of education as well as more open space. And be
Okay.
careful with the environments they spend a lot of their time in.
Okay.
Mindful
Yeah,
environments.
they all thrive when we live in more of a rural, like country area than if we are living in a city. I have noticed.
Do you have any further questions at this time?
I do not. Thank you for answering my questions and the insight on my son. That was kind of out of the blue for me, but I'm not surprised. Um, he definitely is a special child.
And it has been an honor to be able to deliver these messages and to communicate with yourself and other beings of light, light workers, shadow workers, and old souls, and
Mhm.
earth citizens. At this time, I see that it is appropriate to end this channeling, and as always, all is well.
Mhm. Yes, I agree.
Hmm. Wow, what an honor that was to be able to channel Kazaya in that way. An interesting message, kind of a really psychic reading, I could say, came through about a particular child of New Hope. Yeah, that's the kind of reading the I could go in we could go into much deeper detail too, um, in private sessions, kind of reading that Kazaya does, as well as angelic Reiki healing for specific energy blockages, entity attachments, traumas, fears, things that need to be moved in your life. Because I and the angels love working on those, all for the purpose of benefiting humanity. And of course, my name is Troy J. Bacon. You can find me at newbeinghypnosis.com, where you'll be able to message me, email me, as well as set up a consultation for such services for private sessions of angelic Reiki. So, thank you for watching and listening. It is truly an honor to be able to be the host of Kazaya, and we have a lot more coming with Kazaya. He has a lot more to say, of course, and always will. Peace to you, and bye for now.